Okay, let me describe a moment and see if it sounds familiar. You sitting at work doing something that technically isn't your responsibility again. You agreed to help because it felt easier than explaining why you couldn't. And while you're doing it, you feel irritated. Not explosive, angry, just quietly resentful. That feeling, that's not burnout. That's a boundary you didn't feel safe setting. This is something I see all the time with women at work. Resentment doesn't show up out of nowhere. It builds slowly when you keep adjusting yourself instead of the situation. So today, I want to talk about how weak or unclear boundaries turn into long-term career resentment and why ignoring it costs more than you realize. Resentment at work usually isn't about one task or one person. It's about patterns. It's what happens when you say yes when you want to say no, manage other people's stress, take responsibility for things that aren't really yours, and you keep telling yourself, it's fine, I can handle it, at least I have a job, everything's okay, until one day it's not fine anymore. Resentment is your nervous system saying something here isn't fair and I keep just taking it. This hits you especially hard because many of us, again, were taught that being good at work means being agreeable, helpful, and emotionally aware. So instead of setting boundaries, what you do is anticipate others' needs, you smooth over any tension that might be happening, you absorb all of the frustration, and you pick up the slack. Not because you want to, but because it feels safer. The problem is when emotional management becomes part of your job without your consent, exhaustion and resentment is going to follow. Here's how resentment usually shows up. Not in a dramatic way, but a subtle way. You feel annoyed when certain emails come in. You dread them conference room meetings with specific people. You feel unmotivated even though you used to care. And then you start questioning yourself, why am I so irritated? why can't I just really let this go? Because your boundaries are being crossed and you're the only one noticing. This is where resentment stops being emotional and starts being strategic. Unaddressed resentment leads to you being disengaged at work, you're doubting yourself in your work, you stay too long in roles that you know you've outgrown, or leaving suddenly without your plan. It doesn't just affect how you feel, it affects how you show up, how you advocate for yourself, and how you make decisions. And the longer it goes unspoken, the harder it is to really untangle. Here's what I want you to hold on to. Resentment is not a character flaw. It's information for you. It helps you to gain more insight. It's pointing to a place where you're over-functioning, over-accommodating, or over-explaining. Instead of asking, why am I so resentful? Try asking, what am I tolerating that I really don't agree with? This doesn't mean you suddenly set 10 boundaries tomorrow. It means you start noticing where you feel a little tight, where you say yes automatically, where you manage emotions that are other people's. That awareness is the first boundary. And once you see the pattern, you can decide how you want to respond intentionally. If resentment keeps showing up at work, it's not because you're difficult. It's usually because you've been accommodating for too long without support. This is the kind of thing that I help my coaching clients with, not by telling you what to say, but by helping you see the pattern clearly and choose differently. You don't need to keep carrying this quietly. If this helped you in any way, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.